What's up, people? This is KM.Little right here. We're going to be watching how poverty became the new normal for Americans in 2025. America, new working poor. So let's go ahead and get straight into this video.
It's 2025 and everyone's poor. In America, everyone's poor. And it's normal now. And that was the point. The average person in America is simply getting left behind. The work culture is changing. It's been bad for a long time, but it's just getting worse. There's no real incentive anymore. There's just expectation. And the expectation is that you need to work between 60 and 80 hours a week. Essentially, it's normal now to work 2 full-time jobs. To work 80 hours a week 10, 20 years ago would have been lunacy. You'd be called a workaholic. It was a negative thing. Now it's normal, it's expected. In fact, if you work less than 80 hours a week, there's probably something wrong with you. You're just not being productive. At what point in the work culture has this become normal? This has become normal because being poor has become normal. There are more Americans now living in poverty. There's more child poverty now than there's probably been since the Great Depression. It's a normal thing in America now. America is falling behind and its people have been left behind. In the managerial class, the bureaucratic class, they're just completely out of touch with Americans. I recently read an article on USA Today and they're saying it's starting to look bad for poor Americans. But the fact is, who are the poor Americans? Because it's a majority now. The middle class has been erased. All you have now is upper middle class, upper middle class, and upper class, and the poors, the thrifts, people like us. And though we can look at inflation rates, we can look at wages have gone up slightly, but we are still feeling the great impacts of what we've seen happen over the past 4 and 5 years. With the rapid, obscene printing of money, we've seen the devaluation of the US dollar to the point where America has essentially lost its position as global economic hegemon. The BRICS countries are coming up. They are the rising power. What's America gonna do? Because with lack of policy, we'll see what the tariffs are going to do. In the long run, I hope the tariffs work. I hope they do something, because something is better than nothing. Because nothing means that they keep spending, they keep using, they keep abusing the population to get what they need to push their agenda, while at the same time burying us in a position where people need to take debt just to meet the cost of living. Because the average household income now, even in places like Kentucky, average household income doesn't meet the cost of living. So for all those people out there that say the solution is to move to the rural areas, that may be the case. You may be able to find a cheaper home, but the fact is there's not going to be any jobs there. I spent 8 or 9 years in West Virginia. I love West Virginia. It's a beautiful place. Reality is poverty there is crippling. Yes, you can buy a home for cheap, but guess what? Good luck finding a job where you can meet those mortgage payments on the wages that you'll be receiving, because not everybody wants to be a coal miner. And you're like, well, you just have to do what you have to do. You're lazy. If you think it's normal that you need to work in a coal mine to make ends meet, you have gone back 100, 200 years in thinking. We're supposed.
That's facts. I moved from a city that had like 300,000 people. And then I moved here to, I think this city right here is the 12th biggest city or something like that. And it got 100,000 people. And I stay out here in the country, and it's just like, I ain't gonna lie, the amount of people that move here, the city is getting too crowded, because people want to stay in less crowded cities. But when people find the next smallest city, they overcrowd that city. And then the opportunity here, since everybody moving here, it's more apartments here than it is business. So it's just like you keep building more and more and more apartments to house all these people and have cheaper apartments. Like here is like 700. My homie got an apartment for 500. But the thing is, keep having these cheap apartments and people keep moving here. The city get overcrowded, and it's not going to be that much jobs here. It already ain't that much jobs here in general.
To be moving past that. Our society, our civilization, with technology, we are supposed to be moving in a direction that makes life easier. When we talk about AI, when we talk about the automation of the service industry, the great fear is that people are going to be left out to the side. People are going to be left out on their own, unable to find jobs. The hope and dream of a universal basic income for many people, in lieu of the positions that have been taken over by AI, it's a pipe dream. America's not going to give that kind of stuff out for free. And you may say, well, during 2019, 2020, we saw stimulus checks. Why not have something like that? Haven't we seen the consequence of the stimulus checks, the consequence of the government printing money to try to hold up the economy, to hold up people's lives? The sad reality is that the government will never be able to pay for everyone to live. And there doesn't seem to be a way out for most people now. Someone in the comments said that America is the best place to go and make money, but it's the worst place to be left behind. And I can see that. And while you may say, oh, you're poor in a golden cage, the golden cage isn't what you think it is. America has become a serfdom. If you don't pay your bills, if you don't pay your mortgage, if you don't pay your taxes, you're going to go to prison or you're going to be homeless. That's the way that it is. And the fact is, the cost of living has gone up to the point where people aren't being able to make that ends meet without 60 or 80 hours being worked a week. You can say, well, unemployment's the lowest it's ever been. Yes, because that's because everyone's being pressed. That's because the labor market is being squeezed for everything that it's worth. People can't work more than 60, 80 hours a week. And what happens when the cost of living goes up so much that 60 to 80 hours a week won't cut it? What are people going to do then? If you think that America is an unsafe place now, I fear for what it becomes when the cost of living passes the threshold of individual ability to earn income, because we're almost there. And I feel like this isn't a fear-mongering thing. This isn't doom posting. This is just reality. And we need to understand that. The normalization of poverty, the normalization of being poor, the normalization of working 60 to 80 hours a week should be a massive red flag. And the attention to that red flag shouldn't only be paid by those who are being affected by it, because soon we all will. If the middle class has been erased, then you have a large segment of the population, the vast majority of the population that exists within the working class now. And if the working class is being driven into ruin, this is going to spell horrible effects for everyone in America. Because you can't just import people left and right. That's not going to be the solution. You can't just call people lazy. That's not going to be the solution. You can't normalize desperation, not in this country. Because you may have a comparison and say, still to be poor in America is much better than being poor in so-and-so country. But individual expectation, what we expect our lives to be in the contract that we've agreed upon with our corporations, with our government, a failure to meet that also comes with consequences. I think for a long time, Americans have kind of sat by and watched their country go to ruin. We've sat by and watched our money get devalued into nothing. And as long as we've had some semblance of comfort to tell us that, hey, we're okay, and no one has actually stood up, no one has actually said anything, but that's coming to an end now. Look at the faces of the people around you. Look at the faces of people who are going to work in the morning in America. A 12-hour shift, a 13-hour shift a day is not normal. To wake up, to shower, to go to work, to come home, maybe have some dinner, and then to go to bed, this is not normal, and it's not sustainable in America. It is wrong. This is wrong. That's not what this country is meant to be. It's not what this country is supposed to be. That is not what millions, is not what hundreds of millions, billions of people over the generations have sacrificed for us to become. Because the reality.
See, this is the only thing that would drive prices down, is that when people stop buying certain stuff, it's just like when you drive the demand down for a product. You say, like with rent, if you drive the demand down for rent, say like you just everybody start staying together, everybody start staying with their parents, or start renting out their rooms and stuff like that, you know, and people stop actually trying to get apartments, prices of rent will go down.
Of this moment now, America has become nothing more than a farm for the wealthiest people, the managerial class, and corporations to abuse and squeeze.
I mean, other than the government, but if the government step in and bring stuff down, then there's a chance that the government can get sued, but then it got to get struck down by the judge to not get, you know, saying to dismiss a case or something like that. But, you know, that's if the government want to do that. And most time they don't want to do that.
The wealth from, because it's not coming back to America. There's no inheritance now. Our children, if we have children, what do they get? The future of America is bleak. Ask anyone. There's no one here that says the next 10, the next 20 years, America is going to be in a better place. Because we've not seen any change that would say that. There is something dark on the horizon in America that I think everyone kind of senses, but we don't know what it is. Some people think that's going to be World War III. Some people think it's going to be economic crash. Some people say it's going to be an internal war. And honestly, I can't say. I lean more in the direction, because all three are completely plausible at this point. But what I can say, that America will probably do what it does best. When it looks like the economy is going bad, we start a conflict with someone else. I mean, that's how we drive our economy now. Military-industrial complex goes into work. sentiments of patriotism start flying around. People start joining the military to fight for a cause that is obviously going to be a lie. There's no great evil for America to fight right now. There's no 1930s Germany for America to fight right now. The enemies of the American people are within America. And at some point, the ability for Americans to work so much just to survive in America, eventually that's going to be gone. Lately, all over YouTube, people talk about how the American dream has been lost. American dream hasn't been lost, it's been downsized. They say that you should downsize to make life easier, but how far can you downsize? It's not normal for people to live in vans. This isn't a normal thing. It's not normal for 40-year-old men, 50-year-old men to have 3 or 4 roommates to pay off a mortgage. It's not normal for people not to be able to buy a home. It's not normal for people not to be able to start a family. It's not normal for people not to be able to buy healthy food. It's not normal, but they've made it normal. But out of necessity, it's been normalized. Poverty in America has been normalized. You being poor is the new normal. And they say, shame on you if you're not working 80 hours a week. So what can we do? What can we do as normal Americans? I mean, other than watch out for ourselves, create smaller communities, have each other's back. But the thing is, that's been destroyed in America. The sentiment of community, the idea of community has been destroyed. People don't have each other's back anymore. How many of you watching this video now actually know your neighbor? How can you have community? How can you expect anyone to have your back outside of your family, if the family even exists anymore, if you can't even remember anyone's name? Because you don't have time, because you're working 80 hours a week. So how are you going to know your neighbors? How are you going to have time to have barbecues with your friends? Or even at the most basic level, hop on the sticks and play some multiplayer with your friends? You don't have that either. You don't have anything, and they told us this is what it was going to be. You will have nothing, and you will be happy. And that's the reality that we're in now.
That's facts, right? I ain't even got time to play the game no more. I come home, my homeboys be like, hey, man, hop on the game. I'm like, bro, I just worked 10 hours a day, bro. And then I just went to the gym after I just completed my 10 hours, bro. When it come down to having a hobby, it's like you can't afford to have a hobby because you always working. But then sometimes you got to put your ego aside and do what I do. I would have stayed. If I didn't do this, I would have got like I would have paid $500, $600 to stay with somebody. Forget it. I'm just going to do it. Pay $500, $600 to stay with somebody so I can save some money up. Or do this right here. Get a barn, turn it into a house. A little small house for me to live in. Be satisfied. So it's just like, this is a life we have to live as an American until we get on our feet, and then we can afford the nice things that we want, but still be responsible with the money, of course. But this is the life we have to live, you know. But if y'all like this video right here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and what's good, people? This is KM.Little right here. Thank you for watching this video. In this clip right here, I am showing you my different YouTube channels. They are in the link in the description. If you like this video, I'm pretty sure you will love my other channels. Also, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, and we out.